Hello and welcome to A Brand New Day with BTS, a podcast dedicated to bringing you a day-by-day history and song discussion of the South Korean music group internationally known as BTS. In today's episode, we'll be talking about last week's Bangtan activity, January 20th in BTS History, and the song Haegeum by August D from the album D-Day. General reminders up front. I'm Anglo-Canadian, so I pronounce Korean words with an inescapable Canadian accent. If you want to know the spelling of any word, please consult the transcript of the episode, which is available on the podcast's website listed in the show notes. Last week's Bangtan news. A reminder that this just covers Bangtan activity and official announcements. If you'd like to know more about chart performance, I recommend the Bangtan news on YouTube or trusted chart Twitter accounts. Since I have to cut the news off on Friday for recording purposes, the news starts last weekend. J-Hope was active last week on weverse, assuring ARMY who are living in countries not included on the tour that he'll try to visit in the future. RM posted an excerpt on Instagram from the book Reflections from Prison by Shin Young-bok, who was a political prisoner during a period of South Korean military dictatorship. It was announced that J-Hope would be participating in a charity concert in France later this month. The charity benefits hospitalized children. It will air on French TV and will be on YouTube as well. So even if you aren't able to be at the event, you'll still get to see J-Hope's set. There'll be short sets similar to an event like Global Citizen Live, which BTS and Jungkook have participated in before. Tickets for the first 3 days of J-Hope's tour went on sale this past week too. The tour kicks off in Seoul, and all 3 dates sold out within a half an hour. Tickets for the North American tour go on sale this week, on January 22nd, so good luck to everyone. Unfortunately, I have to sit this tour out, but I'll be joining any and all live streams that Hobie offers for sure. One thing I definitely don't feel bad about missing is the ticketing stress. Run Jin episode 17 aired. In the episode, Jin is joined by his good friend Sandal once again for some tower stair climbing shenanigans. It was a very much needed smile for me this week, so Jin is definitely succeeding in his mission to make ARMY laugh and smile even during hard times. RM was active on Instagram right before my news cut off for recording. He recommended the song Balloonerism by Mac Miller and posted an excerpt from an op-ed titled Don't Be Fooled by the Brains of Today, about how finding happiness must be a conscious effort as our brains are wired to focus and look for danger and negative things as a survival mechanism. He also replied to Hobie's comment on his previous post. He's still looking forward to discharge this year. And that concludes BTS activity this week. January 20th in BTS history. January 20th, 2013. BTS released the song School of Tears on SoundCloud, performed to the beat of Swimming Pools by Kendrick Lamar. School of Tears is a harsh criticism of the society within the education system of South Korea, where bullying was often allowed to run rampant because the bullies were protected by their social status. January 20th, 2014. A lot of tweets happened this day. V tweets a selfie, and Jimin tweets a selfie with Jin. Hobie tweets a photo of his bed and says that he can't sleep in it because he has to go practice. Jimin tweets a photo of his food, and Suga also tweets a selfie. January 20th, 2015. Again, a day for tweets. The 20th, in both 2014 and 2015, is just a couple of days before the Seoul Music Awards, so I think these were days spent mostly in the practice room. On this day, in 2015, we get photos of Jimin, JK, and Jin in the practice room. January 20th, 2016. BTS spent this day mostly on a flight back to Korea from Vietnam. Jimin does have time to tweet a video showing JK following him and imitating him. January 20th, 2017. This year, the 20th falls the day after the Seoul Music Awards, so there are a lot of tweets thanking ARMY for the awards. He also tweets his thanks to ARMY, not only for the awards, but for the fact that the friends he met filming the drama Harang had said they'd love to present him with an award, and thanks to ARMY, that was able to happen. He also thanks ARMY for allowing him to meet such great people through the acting opportunity. RM tweets a photo of the word army written in the snow. An episode of Law of the Jungle airs, which Jin guested on. Also, this might have been the day that they filmed Run BTS episodes 13 to 16, which they filmed at One Mount Water and Snow Park in Ilsan. January 20th, 2018. RM is active on Twitter, tweeting selfies and photos from an art installation. He also tweets screenshots from BTS Rhythm Hive mobile game. I'm going to take the relative quietness of this day to talk about January 2018 in general. The first 3 months of 2018 were very hard for the members. I may one day dedicate a special episode to talking about this, but to sum up, they were absolutely exhausted from 2017 and were wondering whether it was even possible to continue and whether they had to run themselves into the ground in order to keep up with the rapid pace at which they were gaining popularity internationally. Though this day might not have actually been quiet, there are a number of Run BTS episodes that they might have filmed around this time. Episode 24, the pottery episode, followed by episode 43 and 44, the satisfaction of the five senses episodes, which are absolute classics and feature events such as the members being able to locate each other blindfolded or name each other by smelling the back of each other's hands. Suga is also wearing a giant RJ costume, which is adorable. January 20th, 2019. Jimin and V are active on Twitter in the very early hours of the day, or probably better understood as the very late hours of the previous day, in which BTS had performed a concert in Singapore. Jimin had done a V-Live livestream after the concert, which you can now find on Weverse, and he talked about his song Promise and also mentioned that V was working on another song. So before bed, Jimin tweets that he is eagerly awaiting V releasing a song. V tweets that Jimin is correct about him working on one. Then they sleep. Once they wake up, it's time to travel again. January 20th, 2020. BTS are in LA, rehearsing for both their epic Map of the Soul 7 comeback, with the choreography for both On and Black Swan, and also rehearsing for their performance at the Grammys, where they'll be performing with Lil Nas X. On this particular day, though, the activity that ARMY sees is V tweeting a video of himself walking with his friend Choi Woo-shik, who is in LA due to the success of his film Parasite. V congratulates Woo-shik on his Screen Actors Guild Award for the role. He also tweets a video of himself and Woo-shik eating burgers on a park bench. Hobie, meanwhile, has fun responding to ARMY's posts on Weverse. January 20th, 2021. As we enter the second calendar year of the pandemic, Hobie posts a selfie on Weverse and expresses his desire to see ARMY again. He also tweets photos that V took during the filming of Run BTS episode 125, which was them cooking in their dorm with Chef Beck. January 20th, 2022. RM is out Namjooning and putting his Instagram to good use, posting photos of the art gallery and the art he saw there, plus photos of his living room and the wind chime on his balcony. Hobie posts mirror selfies from his closet on his Instagram. A BTS member, possibly J-Hope, tweets that the Louis Vuitton fashion show is being streamed live from Paris. BTS are Louis Vuitton brand ambassadors at this time. J-Hope continues to be a good brand ambassador by posting videos of the fashion show and a video of the Louis Vuitton woodpecker toy he received. January 20th, 2023. RM shares a Weverse magazine article about the artwork on his Indigo album. He also recommends the song In Your Eyes by Bad Bad Not Good and Charlotte Day. Jimin's cover of W Korea's February issue is released. J-Hope is currently in Paris with Jimin, and the two attend the Dior fashion show. Hobie shares some videos of himself from the Louis Vuitton show that happened the day before, as well as sharing the announcement that the documentary Jack in the Box will be released on February 17th. The Black Label's YouTube channel releases a Taeyang vibe making film that features Jimin in it. January 20th, 2024. With all members enlisted, we get no activity on this day, though I'm sure all the members were very hard at work at their prospective military jobs and trainings. And that was January 20th in BTS history. Song discussion. Haegeum by August D from D-Day album. A reminder, due to copyright laws, I can't play the song for you, so please use this section as an introduction and check out the song on your preferred streaming platform after the podcast. Released in April 2023, the album D-Day marks the end of what Yoongi considers his August D trilogy. The song Haegeum is the lead track from the album. It was produced and written by August D, aka Suga, aka Min Yoongi. Yoongi wrote it with a similar traditional theme as his song Dechita, which was the lead track off of D2, his second album. The beats of both tracks were composed at the same time. Dechita was finished in time to be released on D2, and he kept Haegeum back for a future release. He was actually working on Haegeum during the first season of In the Soup, which was filmed at the end of May 2020, just after he had released D2. However, he didn't finish writing the lyrics until 2022. Yoongi became frustrated with his progress in writing the lyrics to some of the songs on D-Day, so he took a trip into the mountains for 2 days in August 2022 to work in isolation. He successfully finished writing the songs, but then when he returned to Seoul, he hated what he had written, so he ended up postponing the album, which had been originally slated for November, and taking a month off instead. Once the album was eventually completed, it was slated to be released in April, ahead of Yoongi's North American and Asia tour in the spring and summer of 2023. The music video was filmed in Thailand on February 11th and 12th, 2023, and continues the storyline started in Dechita, with a similar theme of Yoongi playing two roles, the role of a rebel and the role of a person in power, both trying to defeat each other. Although in Dechita, both characters had prominent scars over their right eyes, with the rebel's scar only slightly more healed than the king's scar. In Haegeum, only the person in power has the scar, while the rebel is scar-free. Yoongi doesn't consider there to be a division of good and evil between the characters. There can be various interpretations of who is good and who is evil. In 2020, Yoongi outlined all three music videos in what he considers to be the music video trilogy Dechita, Haegeum, and Amygdala. Yoongi encourages everyone to interpret the music videos however they like, and they're probably right. Personally, I think you also need to watch the August D or Give It To Me music videos from 2016 in order to really understand the trilogy. So whenever I show someone this trilogy, I show them those two, or at least one of the two, as a sort of backstory or stage setting for the three heavier storytelling music videos. My interpretation of the music video is that it's a dramatization of Yoongi's healing process, where healing doesn't look like an ad for a yoga retreat, but rather is represented by a hard-fought and at times violent battle with himself to recover from the wounds that he's acquired in life, especially those that are self-inflicted. My favorite part of the music video is when Yoongi opens it by killing a guy with a pair of red chopsticks. It certainly makes an amazing first impression. I also love how now in ARMY fandom, the chopstick emoji has become a code as a reference to that scene. It's part of the ARMY lexicon that chopsticks now represent a certain type of anger, rather than just utensils with which to enjoy your delicious bowl of noodles. Although neither the music video nor the performances have choreography, Yoongi did develop a choreography for the song and released dance practice for it. Yoongi explained in his Weverse Live about the album that he did this because he personally likes doing idol-related content, like filming choreography videos. He feels like there's a misunderstanding about him when it comes to dance, so he filmed the choreo, even though it's not a choreo that he can do while singing live, as the song requires his full lung capacity. He performed the song as the opening song of his concerts. Perhaps my favorite performance of it was the one that was captured in the D-Day concert movie Suga August D Tour D-Day the Original, which aired in cinemas, and you can also now purchase from weverse. It is a recording from the tour finale concerts in Seoul. There, he absolutely growls the chorus in one of its final repetitions, and it's one of the hottest chorus deliveries I've ever heard. I also love how he hits every beat with a headbang when the drum fill comes in between his lines. In Yoongi's words, the song itself isn't kind. When he was working on it during In the Soup, the file itself was titled Very Angry. He actually couldn't find it for that reason when he went to work on it again, because he kept searching for the file name, Haegeum, and it was only when he gave up title searches and started listening to the tracks one by one that he finally found it in the Very Angry folder. So let's get into the lyrics of this unkind song and see what Suga's talking about. I consulted the official translation on the music video, as well as Dulcet Bangtan and Bangtan subs. There are subtle differences between all three, some of which come down to preferred synonyms, and others change the structure or focus of the sentence more meaningfully. In the end, I decided that since there were lyrics on the music video, I'd quote that version as we talk about the song, but I encourage everyone to read the sources for themselves. I think in the end, I personally prefer the Bangtan Subs translation for word choice and clarity. Let's begin with the title. Haegeum has two meanings. First, it's the name of a traditional Korean two-stringed instrument that begins the song and plays throughout. It resembles what Westerners refer to as a Chinese violin or a vertical fiddle. It's held vertically on the knee while sitting, using a bow threaded between two strings. The second meaning of Haegeum is the lifting of a ban. As Yoongi explained in his appearance on episode 19 of IU's Palette, he encountered this word often while playing rhythm games when young. It was the word used when you unlocked a previously forbidden song in the game and then played a new rhythm. The four-line chorus that begins the song and repeats throughout uses both meanings of Haegeum. The first line, "This song is a Haegeum," means that the instrument you are hearing is a vertical fiddle. The chorus continues, "Get on board now, this lively rhythm. Perhaps this could be a new kind of Haegeum." This takes us to our second meaning of Haegeum, that perhaps the listener can use this song or hear this song as a lifting of a ban or freeing what was previously forbidden. So what exactly are we freeing ourselves of? Or what ban is lifted and what new rhythm have we unlocked? In the first verse, Yoongi already complicates that question. Freedom of interpretation, but nonsense should be thrown out. Freedom of expression, but freedom of expression could be the reason for someone's death. Should that be a freedom? Nevertheless, Yoongi states that if you believe that your freedom is on the same level as others, then you can get on board with this liberation from the forbidden. Yoongi sets up what we're freeing ourselves from in the lines leading up to and into the pre-chorus. That this song is for those living in this unfortunate era who don't even understand their own tastes. That line reminds me of the song Strange from his album D2, which featured RM. In that song, RM posited the question, "You think you've got taste? Oh baby, how do you know? I mean, for God's sake, everything's under control." Going on to say that social media algorithms owned by large corporations who benefit from our attention are now dictating what our taste should be, and doing so in such a way that we don't even realize that we're being manipulated. When we get to the second verse of Haegeum, Yoongi delves more into this insidiousness of the modern era as it relates specifically to the freedom of thought. This is where we get my favorite line of the song. Endless influx of information prohibits freedom of imagination and seeks conformity of thought. Yoongi goes on to explain that being bombarded with informational noise all day keeps us distracted from our own thoughts, blinds us to our own ability to reason, and interferes with the freedom to think for ourselves. The endless controversies that are pumped out in the news media and on social media cause confusion in our own ability to judge. But who is to blame? Yoongi suggests that we might be doing it to ourselves, perhaps by choosing to consume the content, but also points out that we're all slaves to capitalism, money, hatred, prejudice, YouTube algorithms, and the desire to flex our material wealth. Yoongi sums up that when he closes his eyes, it's more obvious that opinions are clearly split depending on who gains, but everybody is too blinded by envy and jealousy to realize that they're putting shackles on each other. He finishes the song by warning us to not get swept away by the tsunami of information and reminding us to differentiate freedom from self-indulgence. This song gives the listener a lot to think about in terms of how they consume media, who and what they allow to influence their opinions, whether somebody else is benefiting from keeping everyone distracted, and whether our desire for that dopamine rush of social media or the 24-hour news cycle is putting shackles on us, making us slaves of a system that's keeping the corrupt in power by robbing the masses of the freedom of thought. Fundamentally, though, the song is a call to action to free yourself, to listen to the lively rhythm of the Haegeum and find a new kind of liberation from what was forbidden. That is, to rediscover your freedom of thought, close your eyes to the tsunami of constant information and controversies, and make decisions for yourself about how you want to interpret the world. As a side note, this song is on my happy motivational morning playlist, so that gives you some insight into what I consider to be motivating, or perhaps I just like a daily reminder to free myself from society. And that brings us to the end of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to discuss this episode, today's song, or have a say in what song gets selected for discussion in the future, you can find me over at Patreon at A Brand New Day Pod. You can also email me at abrandnewdaypod@gmail.com or find me on Blue Sky under a brand new day pod. Thanks. Have a good rest of your day.